Hi beautiful people, it is Lou here and I am back with another video. And today's video is a story that is very dear to my heart and I want to share. I've been wanting to share this story for a long time and I just haven't gotten into it. And if you watch my last video, like I took a break from YouTube, it just wasn't the time. But I am here now expecting my second baby and it's going to be 2 years. Like in a month, it's gonna be 2 years since I had my first child. So I am ready to share that story with you guys. And before we get into the video, I would like to share an affirmation for all the expecting mamas. So it is, I surrender to this experience and the wisdom of my body. And I feel like with throughout my whole pregnancy, my first pregnancy, it was a lot about surrendering, and it kind of goes the same for this one and just my life. So I feel like that's how my birth went. So my baby did come early. She came at exactly 34 weeks, but I wanted to share the story only because there can always be good things that happen in negative situations as long as you know your faith is higher than anything. Honestly, I'm telling the story more to show that like God, there's your plan and then there's God's plan. So God always has a plan for us and we don't know why things work the way they work, but even if they don't go our way, we are still able to hold on to faith and we are still able to come out of on the other side victorious. Like it could still be a good experience even when it doesn't seem like it. And that's basically how I feel like my birth was. So randomly I was getting ready for work a morning, and as I walked to the bathroom, like it was like little drip drip. I'm like, okay. So I used the bathroom, like I was still leaking. I was just like, that's sus. And as I walked back from the bathroom to the room, I was still leaking. And then when I got in the room, I was getting dressed and there was like a little puddle. I'm like, okay. So then I told my man, and then we were just like we're gonna wait until basically I was trying to wait it out. Like I wasn't trying to freak out about it. So I decided to call the doctor's office because I didn't think it was an emergency. Like I said, I wasn't trying to freak out about it, and I feel like I'm a very calm person. Like even in crazy situation, I am able to like kind of stay calm. So then I called, they weren't even open yet, but I guess they have a line. And the lady basically told me they were not open, and she basically told me like it's probably my water that broke and I need to go to the hospital. And I was a little bummed out because that's not what I wanted to hear, and like I'm not like full term. So I got ready and we were on our way to the hospital. And honestly, like I wasn't in pain or anything, but the hospital was a bump. Like the drive there was bumpy. Like I honestly, like any little bump, like I felt it, but I wasn't in pain. So when we got to the hospital, they brought me to this room so they could like check. They check to see if it was actually my water that broke, and they confirmed it. And then they came and did an ultrasound, and they basically said like your water broke. And I broke down. I was just like, and the first thing that came into my mind was like my child. Like that's why I broke down, because I'm like, this is not what I wanted. Like honestly, at first I literally wanted a home birth. Like that's not the setting I wanted to be in. And not even that, like she's early and I'm one of these people, like I avoid like any intervention that I don't need. I'm not gonna get it. Like if I don't need something, I'm not just gonna get it just to get it. So like just that whole experience was just like, I don't know what's happening, I don't want to be here. But and that's the only time I freaked out. Like that's the only time I, like, when they told me like my water broke, like the baby has to come out, and I know if the baby doesn't come out, I'm gonna have to have a C-section because my water literally broke. Like that's it. The baby cannot stay there. So that was very scary. But then I pulled myself together and I surrendered. And after that, they brought me to a room, and they actually gave me a room by myself. I guess because I was only 34 weeks. So yeah, they brought me into the room. I was just in the room, just in the mindset of surrendering. Like I didn't call anybody. Like the only person we called was my parents, but I didn't tell anybody. I didn't post anything because I know, like, you know, we're so like social media based. Anything that's going on in our life, like we have to share it. But I stayed in the same mindset that I wanted to be in if the baby was to come full term. And that's it. Like surrender in the faith that I have is greater than anything. The way that I want to birth my baby and the way that I trusted my baby, the relationship that I had formed since the beginning, since I conceived my baby, that was gonna determine everything. And I trust my baby and my body more than anything. And let's get into that. I feel like if you are planning on having a baby, or if you're pregnant, you need to build a connection with your child and your body to where you can trust your body. I feel like that helps so much. Not only does it help with labor, but it helps with the relationship of your child. And let me just add, I had a doula. She wasn't present at the birth, but I had a doula throughout my pregnancy, and she was so amazing. She would send me affirmation cards. Like she was amazing. Like she literally, and she wasn't even able to be present at my birth, but she still helped me so much. She would always check on me periodically, like making sure that I am connecting with my baby and I'm doing what I'm supposed to. Because birth is not only when the baby is being born. You know, you have to work through that. When you see these women having home birth, when you see these women giving birth with no pain medication, it's not like, you have to prepare for it. You can't go into it and just say like, okay, this was gonna happen. You have to pray about it. You have to manifest it. You have to prepare yourself for it. So I just wanted to add that. That's how I was able to like surrender. Like after I cried about it, it was just like, that's it. Like it's in God's hand. It doesn't, you know, like I wasn't even scared anymore. And I don't like the hospitals. Like I'd be scared of the hospitals. And I think just my partner being there helped me so much. Like, you know, just having somebody that you love there makes you feel like you're not alone. Like, you know, not only do you have God, but you have the person that helps you conceive the baby. But so the day that I went to the hospital, it was just, my water broke. I had a room. I was just being monitored. They would come in the room, ask if I'm okay. No pain, nothing. I went to the hospital. My water broke at 6 a.m. because that's when I was getting ready for work. So we were at the hospital. We got admitted at like what, 8 a.m. So the whole night has passed. I slept. Like I was still in no pain. I was just there. The only thing is I couldn't eat, but you know, I was sneaking little oranges. Like, what do you mean? Like I need energy if I'm gonna push this baby out. But you know, in the hospital they don't let you eat. But I was sneaking little oranges, and that's why when my baby was born, I could have sworn she smelled like oranges. But anyways, So a whole 24 hours pass. So around 7 a.m., that's when I started feeling a little pain. And I told babe, like, I think it's about to happen. I think this is getting real. But you know, people be in labor for hours. Like women would be, and I've heard people like in labor for 24 hours. So, but I knew since I started having pain, especially because my water broke, I don't know, I was just like, okay, like it's about to be time. I don't know, but so I started having contractions. When I first got to the hospital, I was 2 centimeters dilated. So within 24 hours, I was 5 centimeters. And I got an IV, and they gave me like steroid shots for the lungs of the baby. And I said, I don't like too many interventions. So like I surrendered, but I was very mindful of what I was getting, you know. And I feel like within the hospital setting, and I am a doula, so during my birth, which I think I did good, instead of like, you're not here to fight. That's a little advice too for any women, especially black women. You don't have to, you are giving birth. Honestly, if you don't have a doula present with you, which a doula, if you don't know what it is a support system that supports you throughout your pregnancy and during birth. They're your advocate. They know your birth plan. They're able to give you massages, able to help you breathe through your contractions. So they help you navigate through birth at ease, basically. So what was I saying? Yeah. So you are not there to fight. You are there to birth your baby, and you want to be at peace as much as possible. You can refuse, but you don't have to fight. It's just a no, thank you. That's it. You don't have to act like, oh, why would you ask me this? Why would you offer me this? Or, you know, because honestly, everybody's just doing their job. The nurses out of there, it's a job for them. The doctors, it's a job for them, and you have to remember that. And they have their protocols, they have their system. But for me, I know my protocol. I know my system. I know the plan that me and God has, and I don't have to fight you. No thank you, yes thank you. No thank you, yes thank you. That's it. And as a doula, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not here to fight for my client. No, she does not want this, or no, they don't want that. That's it. That's it. Like, you don't have to, it's not your job to start educating them like, why would you offer me that? Or it's in my birth plan, like, didn't you read my birth? Like, no thank you, yes thank you. And I feel like that helps, and that helps us stay calm. That doesn't put us in fight or flight, because, you know, as black women, like, the hospital setting can be very, how do I say that? It could be very scary for us. We have the highest death rate when it comes to pregnant women. So it's not the easiest thing to navigate. But I feel like with my labor, and me understanding that, and me knowing that it's me and God's plan over anything, I could nicely, politely decline, or nicely, politely, you know, no thank you. Like, any vaccine that was offered, I knew, like, I don't want no vaccines for myself. I'm like, no thank you. That's it. You know, that's it. Anything that I needed information about, I asked about it. I wasn't hostile. Like, you know, I don't have to fight you. I don't have to prove any points to you. I don't have to educate you. You have your education, I have my education. It's my body, your job. That's it. But anyways, so with that being said, I took a screenshot because I went in and looked at the notes, because I have all the notes when I was at the hospital, which I really like. So they did this note at 8:45 a.m. Like I said, my contractions started at 7. So at 8:45 a.m. it says that it says patient is in labor as she may change from 2 to 5 centimeters. So for 24 hours from the time I got to the hospital to the next day in the morning, 7 a.m., I was still 2 centimeters. And then when my contraction started, I went to 5 centimeters at 8:45. And my baby was born at she was born at 9:41. So I went from, in 1 hour, I went from 5 centimeters to 9 centimeters. And the baby was born at 9:41. So let's talk between 8:45 to 9:41 when the baby was born. So that's when the contractions intensified. And honestly, I was just listening to music. I was listening to my Afrobeats. Like, I had my AirPods on, and I don't know, it's something about like these like dancing music. It doesn't matter what I'm going through, and I feel like that's what, like, my baby, she loves to dance. Like, since the beginning of day, like, she loves to dance. And she was probably like, I was probably vibing all throughout my labor. I was just listening to music, completely surrendered. Like, I had no fear. Like, it's so crazy how when you trust yourself and when you trust the plan that God has for you, no matter what is happening. And I don't know why my water broke. I still don't know, because they did tests after. Like, I had no infections. I didn't fall. Like, I'm not sure. Like, you know, only God knows. And like I said, like, who knows, maybe if I was in full term, like, I would have been in labor for hours, or maybe something would have gone wrong where I have to get a C-section. You never know. So I know the plans that God has for me is bigger than anything, and that's it. So yeah, I feel like I could go in tangents, but I'm trying to get back to the story so it could align. But so from 8:45, that's when it intensified. I was just listening to music, and then it got to a point where babe was just like, okay, put the music away. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then the nurse came in, and I was just like, I'm in so much pain, like, this is crazy. She told me I should try switching position, which I did, but it wasn't working, because I guess, okay, so for me, my contractions was like period cramps, because I used to get really, really bad period cramps where I couldn't even go to work. And when I have these period cramps, I like to just be in bed, cuddled up, like, obviously, like, laying down in my back. And I feel like that's why I was so comfortable. And I was so surprised that she asked me if I wanted to change position. Like, especially, she told me, since I had no epidural, like, if I wanted to switch position. And I know, like, a lot of the time they don't even give you that option. So I was happy to hear that, but this changing position did not work for me. And she was actually gonna try to give me, like, because my baby was being monitored, but she was gonna give me the one where it's not connected to the machine, to where I could, like, walk around a little bit. Like, nope. Right back on my back, and just, you know, kind of, because like I said, it was just like period cramps that got worse and worse and worse. And I know that means, like I said, I prepared for this, of course not for my baby to come early, but for labor, because she was gonna come out either way. And it intensified, and you kind of have to trust your body and know, like, in order for you to meet your baby, this is what you have to go through. And that's why even now when I go through something, in order for me to come out on the other side, this is what I have to go through. And I would go through it 10 times more. Like, that was nothing. Especially because it was basically like 3 hours. It was wonderful, honestly. I ain't gonna lie. In that moment, it does not feel wonderful. Now thinking about it, I'm like, you know, I had the best labor ever. So it intensified, and then I told the nurse like I need to push, and they were like, wait, hold on, and I started getting so hot, y'all. Like I felt, by the time I felt the pressure, I didn't even feel the contractions anymore, and I was just hot, and the like I just felt the urge to push, and everybody was just trying to get everything ready. And then the doctor came in, and then she was trying, the only thing I didn't like is the way they showed me to push. Like I didn't get it. That's why it took like a minute. Like I think it took what, probably like 10 minutes for me to push her out. Because why you have to hold your breath and then push? That's not natural. That's not natural for us. And that's one thing, like I want to be able to breathe and push my baby through. But I guess in the hospital, like I said, they have their own protocol. So that's one of the things I did not like, because I'm like, this is very uncomfortable. Because she literally told me, okay, hold your breath. And I told her, like, I don't get it. Like, I just want to push the baby out. She's like, listen to me. Look, do this. Hold your breath. I'm like, girl. Girl. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. Hold my breath and then push. And then they're like, do you want to feel the baby? Do you want to feel the head of the baby? I'm like, no. I want to push her out. Like I want to push her out. Is that like at that point, I guess you are in so much pain, or like for me, I'm in so much pain to where I don't even feel it. Like when she comes out, it feels so good. And I always tell people that, and they look at me like I'm crazy. Like I'm not crazy. It feels like a relief. It feels like, you know, like the only thing I can compare it to is you using the bathroom. I'm sorry. Like when you gotta go, you gotta go, and after you go, you feel relieved. That's how it felt. It's like, and like I said, by the time she was coming out, I guess the pain was just so intense to where my brain didn't even like couldn't even process it. So she came out, and they kind of took her, like there was the pediatrician was in the room since she was only 34 weeks, and they kind of took her to like wipe her down and look at her to see if she had any problem breathing, and she was breathing fine by herself. So then they wrapped her, well no, they brought her back. Babe cut her umbilical cord, and then they wrapped her, and then they gave her to me so I could hold her. And that's when I shed a little tear. I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. I have a whole baby. I can't. Oh Lord, let me not cry. But I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. And they checked down there, made sure everything was okay, and they told me that they had to take her away because she has to go in the NICU, and she had no issues. So I'm just like, y'all not serious. Well, and that's the other thing that I didn't like about her being born early, because when your baby's born, you need that hour with them to form the connection, you know, and do skin to skin, which I didn't get to do right away. Yeah, and they said that they were bringing me into another room so I could recover, and they had to check me for like 3 hours, and then after 3 hours I was able to go see her and do skin to skin, which really sucked because it's like, you know. But yeah, that was my labor and delivery story. Like I said, my baby is everything to me, and I would do it all over again. And I am not afraid of birth at all. Like, I was made for this. I love it. I love pregnancy, and that's why I decided to become a doula. Like, I love it. I love it. But anyways, y'all, I'm gonna show you guys 2 books that helped me so much. So this is my favorite book ever. It is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I'm reading it again. This is a new copy that I'm rereading, but I read it in 2021, and there is this specific part that really helped me, and that part talked about like women menstrual cycle. and all this stuff. But this whole book is just, I would recommend anybody to read this. Like, this is the holy grail for me. Like, this is my favorite book ever, and that is why I'm rereading it throughout this pregnancy. And like, I read it way before I had my baby, like a year before I had my baby, and it still came in handy with all the things that I've learned from it. So I would really recommend, pregnant or not, you need to read this, okay? Especially if you are in your spiritual journey, just, you know, give it a read. The next one is a book that I don't know how I found this book. Honestly, I don't know if I was just looking for something like that, and I'm gonna say the book found me, okay? This is God's gift to me. It says Supernatural Childbirth. It's by Jackie Mise. So this book is really good if you're a Christian. The way she writes the book, it has a lot of quotes from the Bible. So I think this is so good. And yo, this book I read when I was pregnant, and it helped me so much, and I will be rereading it again, of course. And this is where my faith came from. This helped my faith when it comes to labor. It's, oh my God, like, if you are pregnant, like, you need to read this book. I'm trying to find the exact part that stuck with me. You need to make your confession out loud first to yourself and to your husband if he's in agreement, because faith comes by hearing. Second, confess it to God, because you are reminding him as well as yourself what he has said in his words. And third, tell the devil, because you certainly want him to know where you stand, and that you're not going to budge an inch. No one else needs to know. You, your partner, God, and the devil, because they need to know. This book, if you are pregnant, I would definitely recommend it. It helps. Yeah, these two books, yeah, okay. Like, whichever, my friends, whoever gets pregnant, especially this book, I'm buying it for them, okay? Yeah. But anyways, y'all, so yeah, my baby went into the NICU for 12 days, and our baby shower, like, literally she came before the baby shower. We had the baby shower while she was in the NICU, and then we had the baby shower on a Friday, and then on Sunday she came home, and the rest is history. And it was the hardest thing in my life, and I don't want to go into her being in the NICU, because I wanted to share my experience with the labor and delivery and how positive it was. And like, she was breathing on her own, she had no issues. Like, she was just in the NICU because she came early, and they told me like, even if she's fine, like, they're gonna keep her. And the only reason why she was even there for like the 12 days is because the feeding, and the way they do the feeding is like step by step, and then they have to eat a certain amount before they even let you go home with the baby. And then they do a car seat test where they have to pass the car seat test, which, that's crazy. But anyways, like I said, that was one of the hardest thing in my life, just her being there. And I was discharged after like 3 days, so it's like, you know, it sucks. But yeah. That is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and please subscribe. And thank you.